First one we have here, a lot of you should recognize this one. We see it's read as nichi or jitsu, but really we would kind of, if we were explaining this one to a Japanese person, we would say hi. Alright, or maybe nichi is a good one as well. Hi. Okay, we normally use the kunyomi when we're explaining kanji to Japanese people. So we say this has got quite some interesting meanings. So day, alright, I would say this is the primary meaning for this kanji, but really it's sun, okay? Really this kanji means sun. And I remember I think it's in the Remembering the Kanji book, he says, well, just think of the outside box as the actual outline of the sun, and then the line through the middle is like the smile of the sun, because it's like smiling on earth. Anyway, so yeah, we see it means sun, alright? But when we use it, we're mostly talking about day. Okay, well, obviously it's means Japan, alright? And it's also our counter for days, okay? So I've done a whole video on counting days, or counting, and that includes dates and things like that. I would really recommend you watch that if you're doing Year 12. So I would say that really all of these readings are important. All of them. Alright, so nichi we know just from counting days, you know, 11日, 12日, 13日. Jitsu we can actually see in days like, in words like shukujitsu. Okay, this is a possible word which can come up. Oh. Okay, and this is a holiday. Alright, it's like a public holiday. Alright, so for example, you know, Golden Week. This is a really common Japanese Year 12 exam question, and they'll talk about something like shukujitsu ga oi. You know, many holidays when they're describing Golden Week. Hi, of course, we know mainly it's bi when we talk about our days of the week. Getsuyobi, Kayobi, Suiyobi. And ka we again know from our days of the month. So futsuka, second day. Mikka, yokka, itsuka. Okay, so all these are pretty important. Alright, next one. Next one we have, it means moon. Okay, this kanji actually means moon, but interestingly enough, it's not really how we deal with this kanji. We're normally going to deal with it in terms of month. Alright, so if we think about the lunar cycle, okay, the lunar cycle goes through one whole cycle every month. Okay, waxing and waning, all that kind of stuff. So this is why we use it mainly for month. Okay, so this reading of tsuki, I wouldn't really worry about. You can say like, you know, tsuki ga mienai. I can't see the moon, but I mean it probably is not going to come up all too often. It could, but yeah. And you can say, you know, tsuki-sama, the moon. Alright, but actually it's these two readings which I would really recommend you focus on. Okay, so for example, when we're talking about our you know, our months, January, 1月, 2月, 3月, alright? And then we have, when we're talking about spans, 1ヶ月. Okay, so 月, 1ヶ月, a span of 1 month. So if you know both of these, that's about all you really need to know for this kanji. It's really testing dates. Alright, next one. We see this is fire. Alright, a lot of you will just read this as ka. But again, because this is our onyomi, you couldn't go up to a Japanese person and say ka, kaite, ka, or kanji de kaite kudasai. You know, it doesn't really make sense. They'll probably try and write something else. If we want to say, you know, write the kanji for fire, hi. Alright, hi. Now we know this from obviously Tuesday, right? Kayobi. Kayobi. But we can have some other words like kaji. Kaji じゃない. Kaji. Alright. So this is just like a fire. So for example, when we're talking about earthquakes, you know, this could come up in an earthquakes listening thing. What else? What do we have? Kaji, kayobi. Yes, that's about it. I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, kayobi really is the other one. Let's do one thing here. Okay, kayobi. Alright, next one. Water. Okay, mizu. Mizu, I'm not really sure. Oh, I see, it's a dash. But yeah, mizu. Okay, again, we'd say mizu kaite kudasai. Please write mizu. Alright, we say it means water. And sui. Okay, so again, day of the week. Suyobi. Alright, we have suie. Okay, so swimming. Yeah, those are the main two ones. Okay, next one we have ki. So ki is a tree technically, but it's used a lot to mean wood. And you see it's ki. I wouldn't really worry about. Probably should highlight these. I mean, I said all these are good. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, now for this, of course, we need to know it as ki. Moku, we'll know from mokuyobi. Boku, I would say it's very unlikely that boku is going to come up. Okay, so, you know, we just have the word for ki. So, ki no shita, underneath the tree. And mokuyobi. Now, I think I have seen words like this before. Mokubu. Alright, it's talking about like the wooden part of something, if something's made of various materials. But yeah, I don't really think this is... I mean, it's possible, right? Because bu is also a receptive kanji, but I don't know, not very useful. Also, we can have it come up in lots of people's names. Alright, we could have Suzuki-san. We could even have a name like this. Oh wait, that's Moto. Yeah, sorry. But anyway, yeah, I would say that these are the main two. Okay, next one, naka. Alright, so we have chu and naka. Alright, I would say that these are the two most useful ones. Now this is a very broad word in Japanese, just like it is in English, okay? So inside, middle, center, the mean, although you're probably not going to know that meaning so much. You know, inside something. Okay, so you know the easy one, which we probably come across a lot, heya no naka. Heya no naka. And we could have like nakabayashi. Alright, this is a very common name in Japan. But also our school, okay? Chugakko. And yeah, mannaka. Although I gotta say that's probably not so. It's not so likely. But mannaka is like the very center of something. We see we have our kanji for truth here. Mannaka. What else? That would be about it, I would think. But as long as we remember naka and chu, that'll get you by. Te, alright. Really important kanji, especially when we think of this in terms of radicals. Okay, so it's worth remembering shu and te for this guy. Okay, well first we can just say te, alright, our hand. We also notice some jobs. we can put it on the end of certain words and talk about the person who does that job. So unten is to drive, untenshu, a driver. Unten, untenshu. There is a few jobs that have this. With jobs, it's a bit. They're actually like, I don't know. I feel like there's like 5 to 10 kanji that we put on the end of certain words to say it's the person who does that job. We have shi, shu. We have quite a few. I just can't think of them at the moment. Sha, I guess. A lot of S sounds. But the important thing is to look at words like this. Motsu, ten. Alright, when we look at certain words, motsu, alright, to hold something, sagasu, to search for something. We see on the left here, we have our radical for hand, okay? So this stick with the 2 notches on it on the left hand side of both these kanji is like a simplified version of this kanji. Okay, so when we see a kanji with this on the left hand side like this, it's a bushu, alright? Bushu, it's a radical. Bushu. Alright, and so that's how we can kind of tell the difference between, for example, alright, between, for example, motsu and matsu. We see we have, on the right here, we have temple, we have tera. But on the left we have hand, and here on the left we have what's called gyo nimben. It's not really important to know that one though. But so we can say, well, this is obviously to hold, okay, because we're dealing with our hands. So really important to know from that point of view, okay? That's a radical. Te untenshu. I guess we could have words like tegami. Okay. Tetsudai. Tetsudai. Alright, to help out. So, yeah. Really handy one. Alright, this one. Now a lot of you will know this as yen. So N in Japanese though. Remember, yen versus N. But there's another reading for this which has come up in Year 12 exams before. And it's this one. Marui. Marui. Alright, so this is an I adjective, okay, and it means round. Now, some of you may already know a word for round. Okay, and there is a difference between these two marui. Okay, so the one that you should learn is more for round things. Okay, so whereas like flat things, so coins, for example. Whereas this marui is more for spheres, so more kind of 3D objects. But the difference between those two words is not important. You're not going to be tested on that, for example, in Year 12. And even in JLPT, I would think a question like that, it's probably not even going to come up in N2. Like N1 it could, but yeah, so it's a very subtle difference, so don't worry about it. But just know you don't have to know that second marui. Like, you don't have to know this one. You don't have to know this kanji. How do you do it? Alt Shift 5. Oh, nailed it. Alright. So marui. Alright, we'll get by with this N and marui. Alright, so we see it's circle, yen, round. Alright, so yeah, this is the important word here. Circle. Alright, so it's a circle rather than a sphere. Okay, this one. Alright. Some of you will recognize this as the gen from Genki. Okay. I don't think it's really worth loading gun here, and it's not even really worth learning moto, because basically the words you're going to have to read this in are Genki and maybe Ganjitsu. Alright, Ganjitsu. But I don't think so. I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. They're probably going to write the furigana above Ganjitsu, okay? But Ganjitsu is another way to say New Year's Day. Genki, alright? This is basically the only time we need to know this. Alright, ima. Okay, really handy kanji. We see this in heaps of words. It's probably one of the most common readings, and I actually notice here they don't have all the readings of this kanji. Okay, because for example we have kotoshi, konshu, kongetsu. Okay, so we see it's got the proper readings here, but kotoshi, it is not quite. Kon, is it? It's ko. Kongetsu. Kongetsu. So this year, this week, this month. And of course, whoops. Okay, we have kyo. Alright, so we see there's kind of some weird readings with this, but just keep in mind that when we're talking about dates and the kanji for dates, like today, tomorrow, all this kind of stuff, these are pretty ancient kanji with ancient readings, so that's why that's a bit strange like this. Of course, when we just have ima. Okay, now. Yeah, we have words like imadoki, but this is probably a bit of an advanced word. But this is like nowadays, imadoki. So imadoki no daigakusei. So it's like the current generation of university students. What else? That's about it. Kotoshi, konshu. Yeah, I think that'll be about enough for those. 10. Alright, so obviously it's good to know 10 for this one. I don't think it's really worth learning these, but there is a word. So we see heaven, sky, and so because of this, it has this, it has this meaning of imperial as well, okay? Imperial. So we're talking about like the emperor a lot when we use this kanji. Although to be honest, those words are very unlikely to come up. But we can have tenki, okay? This is the one probably everyone knows. And what's the other one? Oh yeah, the reason I highlight ama is because we could have this one, ama no gawa. Now this third one, amaterasu, I mean, it's pretty unlikely to come up, but this is kind of I believe it's the god that kind of created Japan, okay, Amaterasu. So it's possible it could come up, but again, they're very likely to tell you the reading of this. But just keep this in your head, just keep it linked with sky, heaven, imperial, these kind of things. So tenki though, we'll be able to get by with this. Alright, a lot of you probably recognize this one, okay, we got chichi. Chichi. Alright, so it means father. But also, of course, we can have oto-san. Alright, someone else's father. And also fu. I'm not sure this is really worth learning, but for example, when we combine it with the kanji for mum, we can read this as fubo. It's like mother and father, but I don't think it's going to come up much. Oto-san and chichi is probably going to get you by. Alright, fun. Okay, this is a really important kanji actually. So we saw it in minutes, okay? So fun, bun. Gonna need to know all of these. But also, you know, wakaru. Now, it's kind of unlikely that this gets written like this. A lot of the time this word will get written without kanji in year 12, but it could be, okay? It's possible that it could be. So wakarimasu, to understand. Wakarimasu, wakaru. Okay, to understand. Okay, so the way I like to remember this kanji is when we look at the English, we see... That's interesting, it doesn't actually have it here. But I guess we can say, you know, part, segment, a share, and I'm going to add my own Okay, divide. Okay, because we can say, you know, we kind of think of wakeru is like splitting things up, so we divide them up into smaller bits. So this is why this is for the kanji for a minute, because a minute is like a share or a part or a division of 1 hour. So yeah, so and wakeru, this is, I mean, a bit advanced, I would say, but it's possible it could come up in year 12. But wakeru means to split, wakeai. So you talk about when you're sharing things, for example, this will come up a fair bit. But yeah, fun and bun is probably the most times we're going to come across this. There are some tricky ones, so alright, I think this is pretty cool if this came up. I remember this came up in my third year of uni Japanese, so perhaps it's unlikely. But they could do it. Oops. Okay, so we see these kanji are the same, but they're read differently. So jubun, this means sufficient. Sufficient, or that there is plenty of something. And jubbun, this is 10 minutes. Alright, so yeah. Kind of a tricky one. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it for that one. Fun. Yeah, most of the other words are a bit tricky. Alright, tomo. Okay, a lot of you should recognize this one. This is friend. And I'm not sure it's too useful learning this. Pretty much the only time this is going to come up is tomodachi, right? Actually, it's more likely to be written like this, tomodachi. Even Japanese people don't like writing that dachi. Okay. Now they could use the onyomi and do this word yujin, but I'm not sure that's very likely. Tomodachi is probably that'll be enough. Yujin just means friend, by the way. Okay, next one, kata. Alright, so just don't get this confused with the one we saw earlier, well last week it would have been, of this one, man. Went past it. Man. Alright, so notice this one doesn't have a notch on the top, this one does. That's the only difference between these two kanji. Okay, this one does have a notch on the top. So what do we have to know? Well, ho, kata. We have to know both of these. I don't remember these names. This is, by the way, that line is just talking about how in people's names it gets read differently even again. But yeah, trust me, you don't have to know that. Okay. Just write something here quickly. Alright, cool. Just reminded me. Okay, so, well, we have to know this, for example, when we think about some grammar, we think about the way of doing something. We get our verb stem, and then add kata. So, ikikata. Okay, the way to go. Tabekata. The way to eat. Shaberikata. Shaberikata. So shaberu, this is a good verb to learn, but this is to chat. So shaberikata is like a way of talking. So shaberikata ga hen. You speak strangely. Alright, I've heard that said to me many times. Shaberikata ga hen. Alright, so we can use it as here. However, ho, when we're thinking about our comparisons, we say, you know, X no ho ga suki. Okay, so we've got some kind of something. No ho ga suki. Alright, so both of these you have to know. And I would say that a lot of you are very probably comfortable with reading this as ho. I kind of noticed myself throughout early years of high school that this is what is emphasized. And then when they teach you the grammar for this ikikata, tabekata, like the way of doing X, in kind of year 11, year 12 about, I guess is when you start to learn this, then the majority of times you see this kanji is like this. So just keep in mind that both readings are very likely. Okay, this has got quite a lot of readings. I wouldn't worry about the vast majority of these. I don't even think it's worth it. Okay, but we've got our transitive and intransitive verbs here first. Okay, tomato, tomato. Yameru could come up, but I don't think so much. Anyway, so we see this kanji means stop. Alright. Now don't get this confused with tadashi. Alright, very similar looking kanji. Okay, tadashi means correct. Okay, it's not what we're talking about here. Now, just as a bit of a side note, this tadashi, we're going to come across it later, but this is how Japanese people do tallies. Okay, you know we do the 4 lines, then cross through with the 5th line. Japanese, you do it like this. You know, you write this kanji, and then, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strokes in here. So you can do tallies with this kanji. But anyway, we're not dealing with this one yet. So this is tomaru. Now, for example, you'll see this on stop signs. They'll just have this kanji, and they'll also, you know, paint it on the roads near stop signs. And I'll normally say tomare. Okay. Now, this tomare, it's a bit rude. It's actually an imperative form. It's like, hey, stop. You know, it's like a command or an order. So you're not really supposed to say this to other people. But tomaru and tomeru. Okay, so just a bit of a quick recap. We've got tomeru and tomaru because we've got transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay, so it's that the A sound is normally the one where humans are not involved. Okay, it's like something else is happening by itself. So we could say kuruma o tomeru. Okay, kuruma o tomeru, and that's like I'm in the car and I'm pressing the brake and I'm stopping the car. Kuruma o tomeru. Kuruma ga tomaru. The car stops. All right, so some car, and maybe it you know, whatever, it hits something or whatever, but it stops. Okay, not with human involvement. Tomeru versus tomaru. I think these are good examples of the, you know, how we have an A sound and an E sound to differentiate between our transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay, tomaru. Yeah, and I don't think we really need to know shi so much. One word we could have this as, actually, now that I think about it, having said all that, chushi. Chushi. Okay. Although most of the time when I've seen this, it does get written with furikana. So you're probably not going to be expected to read this. But chushi, to cancel or to suspend something. Okay. Alright, last one. So, sure. Yeah, it could come up, I guess. But really we're learning it for the kunyomi, okay? Tsukunai. Skoshi, right? Few or a little. Alright, so skoshi. Yeah, just both of these are going to come up. You know, nantoka ga tsukunai. Skoshi tabemasu. Both of these could come up. I mean, we could have tasho. This is maybe not so likely to come up. Okay, and so just notice that this is different from chisai. Alright, we've got an extra big stroke on the bottom of this, but very similar meanings. Okay, so I've got a link here to this minpaku, the article. Let me just bring it up.